This segment is brought to you by Jig Masters. Step up your game with high-quality performance jigs, spinner baits, buzz baits, and more from jigmasters.com. And always, when in doubt, get the jig out.
Let's go!
This is the Chasing the Tide Saltwater segment on the Paddle and Fin Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols. So come along for the saltwater shenanigans. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Chasing the Tide, your saltwater segment here on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols, and tonight we have special guests with us. We have a couple, a fishing couple, yak couple themselves, Dave Tammi Morrisette. What's going on, you guys? How y'all doing tonight?
What's up, Dustin?
What's going on, Dustin?
It's going. Been meaning to get y'all on the show, man. Talk a little bit about the couple connection in the kayaks and your little community we got going on, the group y'all started, and some of that good stuff, in kayak fishing world. Actually, done a lot of influence, a lot of other couples to jump on board and fish together too. So I know y'all were, y'all been doing a little while. So we just want to introduce yourselves to the guests. Let's start that over, huh? All right, introduce yourself to the listeners out there and tell them a little bit about yourself, how y'all got into fishing at a young age or how that happened, and then what led y'all into the plastic boats.
You want to start?
Okay,
Tammi, ladies first.
So when I was 5, I caught a little fish, and my dad made me hold it in my hand so he could take it off the hook. So I was turned off of fishing at the age of 5. I had no interest in it really at all up until about, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
And we
6 years ago.
We had a friend down in Corpus, and we'd stay at his condo, and we'd fish off the jetties. I still wouldn't touch anything. David had to tie my hooks on. He'd have to take my fish off. I finally moved up to taking stuff off with a glove, learned how to tie my own knots. To today, where they got blood and slime and crap all over me, and I love it.
Yeah, she's come a million miles, man. We did a lot of jetty fishing, soaking bait, surf fishing, and it was obviously very different from where we were then as we are today. I don't even like bait. I don't even know how to fish with bait anymore. I fish,
So much more satisfaction with tricking them off something that's fake. Yeah.
Well, as for myself, I grew up in the state of Maine. Of course, a lot of fresh water. I never really got into the saltwater thing because we were too far from the coast. Chasing ditch pickles and bass and a fish called a pickerel. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Caught plenty of them. Caught a bunch of them down in Florida. Chain pickerel.
Yeah, pickerel, and we'd catch white perch, yellow perch by the hundreds. But then 20 years in the military, didn't really fish a day. The entire time I was in the military. Guess we had other priorities, but got down to Texas in 2008. Started getting down to the coast, like Tammi mentioned. And my neighbor up in San Antonio he actually had a wilderness kayak. And I was interested. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty cool kayak. You sit on top of that thing? And he invited me. He asked me if I wanted to go down to Aransas Pass. Never been. I was like, sure, let's go. Went and spent the weekend. I rented a sit-inside kayak down on the base, and which was horrible. And we fished. We camped right there and across from Lighthouse Lakes on the dunes, and fished that channel mostly, soaking bait off the bottom. But when I saw him pull up a limit of mid to upper slot redfish, I didn't catch one myself. I was like, I'm all in. That looks fun, right?
Yep.
That looks fun. So he sold me his old ocean kayak, and that's when I got into the plastic boat, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And no rudder.
Paddling.
paddling. So I'd never go more than a few hundred yards, maybe 500 yards tops. And I still loved it. And I'm sitting in water, right? It's the sit inside seat, and loved it. And then when Hobie came out with the compass, I went and rented one from Austin Canoe and Kayak and took it out on one of the lakes. And I'm like, holy crap, this is a game changer. This is
Game changer, yeah.
Well, pedaling, the whole pedal aspect of it. And then I bought Tammy one, and she's still in her same compass. So she's probably due for an upgrade because mine's been shredded. The bottom of it was shredded from oysters. And so now I'm in a Hobie 2020 Outback. Love it. Yeah. And honestly, we bought this RV and we keep this down here at the coast full time. And I spend about 80 to 90% of my time down here at the coast in Rockport. And Tammy's back and forth. So I work from home, so I'm blessed to be able to work and fish as much as possible.
Fish as much as you can.
Yeah,
I know, and that's the whole thing that, like you said, y'all were fishing jetties or driving down and doing surf fishing and here and there off some piers and stuff. But like the main reason, like I know that everybody gets into kayaking because it opens up that much more water, and the ease of access and everything. I'm like a broken record when I talk about that, but it's the fact. It's a fact. You can get places boats can't. You can creep back in the marsh and some stuff a lot of the boats can't get into. And it's definitely an advantage. I feel it's an advantage when chasing some of the bigger trout, as you're not making all the noise trying to crunch up on some shell or reef. You're actually drifting in stealth mode, and can actually sneak up on them pretty good. So yeah, there's definitely plenty of advantages, and then just the ease of access and transporting it and everything, and you don't have to spend all that money to maintain it like you would a boat. And I know quite a few people now that have jumped over from the boat side that just got into kayaks too. Nina herself, and Chuck, both of them, her and her husband,
we don't have Chuck.
He's not in yet. Okay.
He's still in a paddle yak. So I think once he gets in a pedal slide, it's an old ocean paddle yak that he has.
Yeah.
Nina's right out of the gate. She's obsessed with it. She loves it.
Yeah,
I do too. It's just so, even though we launch together, half the time we launch together and we separate, and it's just the peace, serenity, whatever you want to call it. It's just like, it's just beautiful out there.
It's our favorite thing to do together. It gives us, some quality time. And I think you'd asked about if we were closer.
Yeah.
Because of getting to do that, as long as he's not telling me how to fish.
That sounds about right. Yep. That was like me taking my wife. It's like, she's like, it feels kind of like this, like, wait, set the hook. Set the hook.
What's that?
Thanks, Cinco's all the way down in this boat. It's like, golly. But so y'all getting in together and enjoying fishing and everything, that kind of led y'all to wanting to get in a little bit about the group, the Facebook group you guys started, Couples Yak Fishing Texas. And just from the camaraderie and what y'all enjoy together, y'all wanted everybody to share in on that. Is that what was the deal behind starting that? Y'all give some info out about that if y'all don't mind.
Sure. Yeah. Couples Yak Fishing Texas. After we started kayak fishing, we just met more and more people, and the kayak fishing community to me it's just a great community. People,
family.
It's like family.
Oh yeah.
We met several couples, Rudy Aranda and his wife, Christina, several other couples that were into fishing.
Joni and
Chris Shipman, several couples. And, we had
Ty and Teresa.
Obviously, Ty and Teresa.
30 miles out. Shout out.
We were actually, 30 miles out. I'm not to go off subject here, but when I got into kayak fishing, I started checking YouTube, right? And of course, he's got a ton out there. And we ended up going to not a meet and greet, but a camp out, 30 miles out camp out over at Grand Isle, Louisiana.
Oh yeah.
And her and I, we're still
using dead shrimp.
We're still using dead shrimp. And here's Ty, he's throwing plastics and catching reds, and so is Teresa. And I'm like, damn it, we need to figure this out. But so anyway, several couples. And I thought, it might be cool if we start a couples yak fishing page, something a little different than all the other ones that are out there.
Encourage more women
and
to get
encourage
out there
more wives to potentially fish with their husbands. And a good example of that was Jesse Godinez, right? His wife, Priscilla, I don't think she ever really got into kayak fishing, but when we started this page, he actually had Phil Spencer, I think it was Phil Spencer, guide them one day, and Priscilla got on like a 24-inch trout. And she was hooked. And now she's got her own Hobie Outback, and she just loves it, So, anyway, more and more couples, even though a lot of the folks on the page,
there's a few that are single.
Their other half may or may not fish, and we don't care. I mean, it's just another community.
Yes.
And I didn't think we'd have more than 40, 50 people, and it's grown over, I don't know, 400 to 500.
Close to 500 now.
Yeah, it's growing.
Well, that's the thing, the camaraderie and the community we have in kayak fishing in general in Texas or as a whole, nationwide.
Yeah.
I got into that with my last guest from Yak Tribe. I had Heath on here, and we talk about the same thing. It's just there's just so much. It's like a family, Everybody gets together, helps everybody out if in need,
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's a big plus of it, And then like we have some friendly tournaments that you've been putting on for us, and have a little fun with that. Little competition never hurts.
So. A little backstory to that. So there's about 5 or 6 of us that fish together a lot, including Tammy. And, I just came up with this idea. Hey, why don't we start a mini tournament, between us, bragging rights, $20, whatever. And we'll just run it on the couples page. Well, didn't really have quality rules put together because it was going to be more or less bragging rights. Sure, it's $20 a head, but man, that went south quick because we had that first tournament about a year and a half ago now. That first tournament, all of a sudden we had all the local guys joining the page saying, hey, we want in, it just gives them something else, something to target, something to do. And, I think the first tournament was maybe 20 plus people. And 2 or 3 tournaments later, we had about 55 people in the tournament. But yeah, the first couple tournaments, it was just a couple of us trying to fish it and be the tournament directors. Yeah. And that didn't go over real well, right? So now what I do when I put the tournaments together is, and I think we probably tweaked the rules one more time, the whole trout mouth open thing. But yeah, I like what you guys are doing, but anyway, we it's been great. And so what we do now is we'll have 2 non-fishing judges, right? Last time we had Kyle Manick, Robert Rodriguez, and I do all the administrivia on the back end. All they do is measure the fish. And it's gotten better. We still have drama, but I think every tournament has a little bit of drama.
All of them do. Yeah, that was cool. The last one, it was like a names in a hat kind of draw, and you paired up who you get to fish. You didn't get to pick who you fish with. It was pretty cool. I wish I would have had that last week instead of being in Florida to catch some flounder. Cause
that's all you guys needed to go. What, you were third? You guys took third. You would have. Yeah. And honestly, that's how Phil and Angel, Angel went out that last few days and caught
got 2 nice flounder. Yep. Yeah. I knew where some was at. I just couldn't get the right ones. I was catching some 14s and some 14 and a halves, and I know they were in there. I just had to get the right one to eat, and I only had 2 days before I left, and it was windy, and it's hard to stay in position. But yeah, it's all fun. That's what it's all about. It's all about fun. I like the competition. I like challenging myself to try to catch some bigger fish, and it's always fun in that heat.
That's what we all. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, that's what I tell guys. Right? They're like, God, you got guys like Dustin and Matt Murphy and Chris Castro and all these big dogs fishing it. I go, okay, so it's $20 or $50 to enter. If you want to challenge yourself, those are the guys you want to fish against, right? I mean, look at the quality of fish that were turned in, the trout. My God. Oh, yeah. I mean, Castro had a 28 and a half inch trout.
Yeah. Phil caught a bunch. I had a bunch over 20, a few over 25, some couple 26. Yeah. Phil, Mike Escamilla had a couple good ones.
Yeah.
Jesse Cadonias had a good one or two good ones that did. There's some people, we put up some good fish.
Yeah, I mean, it's for a small time tournament. It probably would have competed against many.
Yes, yeah, there's some good fish turned in, definitely. Chasing the Tide, Paddle and Fin kind of paired up. We got our little winter kayak trout showdown going on right now. Also, just kicked off on the 1st of this month. It'll be in full swing by the time this episode airs. I know you put up a couple fish today. Got on the water. Yep. It's all, they, starting to see some entries come in from that, and some fish entries and everything. I think we got 24 anglers signed up as of right now, and I think the entry will close on Friday. So if you don't get signed up by Friday, which it'll be before this airs, so it's too late. If you listen to this now and you didn't sign up, you're left behind.
I'm in.
It's all good, man. So get back to the couple side of things. We started the Facebook page and the group and everything. There's been a lot of camaraderie. And y'all have any plans for any kind of meetups or anything? Y'all got something going on anytime soon? Or
no, we had one. Last year around
on Goose Island
before COVID out at Goose Island. It was a good time. We had several folks show up. We were going to do like a little mini tournament, but it was more like the group. We all broke up into groups and fished different areas, right?
Yeah.
Just a good time. Then we got back. We cook up the fish at night.
Yeah.
Just great time, man.
Sit around and tell some stories. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I'd love to do it.
Yep.
I'd love to do it again. I just don't, I think we're getting better on the COVID front. So hopefully we can maybe put something together in the spring.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But as like you said, we I want to jump back in as far as fishing as a couple. That has that brought more enjoyment as a whole into the fishing side of things. Like Tammy, would you would go fishing by yourself? Because I know David does a lot.
She does.
Tap in, okay. But it's definitely more enjoyment when you're out there with each other, for sure.
Yeah, it's a little, friendly competition. I love it when I outfish him, which hasn't happened in a while, but I'm usually happy when that happens.
Yeah.
And it's funny to watch her personality or her mood, right? If you go out there 2-3 hours and all she's caught is some undersized fish, she's just not a happy camper. And, for me, as long as I'm on the water, man, catching a fish is a bonus.
Yep.
So she's not angry, but she's just like, just kind of like a little bummed. And then she'll hook up to like a 26, 27-inch redfish. And
that made my day.
It's like they just gave her a happy pill.
My day's
right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have to catch another fish the rest of the day. She's happy. But yeah, it's.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of the clips that you posted when you lose a couple of those solid redfish, kind of get to you. Yeah, it's always a tough pill to swallow when you got a good fish and you lose it. That's kind of the story of my life in Florida this past weekend.
That's right.
I went out and fished that KBF trail event on the Kissimmee chain. Had 2 separate events on Saturday and Sunday. Had a lot real strong front come through Thursday. Found some fish, and then Friday, a lot of us fished Friday and didn't get a single bite. Period.
Wow.
Saturday started out pretty cool. I got a pretty cool story from the event. We had somebody roll over their kayak on Thursday in the wind. Russ Snyder's, who is like back-to-back angler of the year for. He's like the hammer right now. He's like the guy to beat. He lost 7 rods and everything, and then come to find out his fish finder got stolen. So he didn't have his waypoint of where he dumped over. I was fishing Saturday morning. The tournament started, and I kept seeing this little stick I thought it was sticking up. And I threw to it, and I jumped one off probably about 17, 18 inches, and then I threw back in there. I caught 2 fish off of that stick. Well, I come back around later to swing around because there was some eelgrass in there. And the closer I got, I realized, man, that's a dang fishing rod sticking out of the water about 2.5 foot. I thought it was a stick just a little further out from the reeds. I thought it was just like an isolated reed. So I picked it up, and I was like, man, this has got to be one of Russ's rods because it's an eye rod. It was a quantum reel. I had a Mega Max jerk bait, giving away some secrets. And I was like, Cody Milton was near me, and he was like, dude, I think I found one of Russ's rods. I said, man, I was throwing to it. I caught fish off of it. He's like, man, it must be that mojo, man. That dude's got mojo on his rods. I was like,
that's awesome.
So, but the funny thing is I fish in that area. I'll probably pull one off. It's probably 5, 6, probably 21, 22-inch fish. I lost like about 4 casts later after I left that area. Came back through again to target that eelgrass. It was kind of a combo of eelgrass and hydrilla outside the Kissimmee grass. So I kind of liked where the 2 grasses were converging. I was kind of finding my fish around that. And I picked up 3 more fish and kind of cold one. I had a small limit, but the fish I lost would have been great. But then, 5 minutes later, there's another rod floated up, and I found 2 of his rods. So It was pretty cool. It's like, man, where's the karma? Why am I losing my fish with all that good karma of finding these rods? So
nice.
We got him back to him that evening, and he was stoked to get his rods back and everything. So it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see his face light up when I found a few of his rods. So yeah.
So he was out there in that front.
Yeah, he was fishing Thursday, and he leaned one way, his scale fell. He was trying to grab a scale, and a wave hit him the other, and it rolled him out. It could do it. So I'm gonna tell you right now, the Sunday tournament was tough. I had 2 fish early on, and I didn't get a bite for about 3-4 hours. And I went around to a canal to kind of go throw a wacky worm along some riprap and stuff to at least pick up a few keepers to try to get up, move up the board with some small fish and then try to cull. And I came around. I was on the south end of the lake, and the wind switched southwest, and it was probably blowing 15 to 25, like gusting. And the thing about that hydrilla, when it's under the water, that submerged vegetation comes up within a foot or 2 of the surface, the waves will break on it like breakers.
Wow.
Like I could surf, like coming through where that canal had a little bit of current coming out, the waves were stacking up against it. I could have surfed my kayak through it. Like I could shut my motor down and it would push me in. Like the waves were breaking, literally white capping on top of that hydrilla that was submerged. It was insane. Yeah, and I lost a really good fish in some pad stems right there, so I was already pretty bummed when I had to start heading back towards the ramp. I was about 1.5 miles away and had to go through like 3-foot rollers that breaking over the grass and all that good stuff. It was pretty fun.
Is that the Invitational or whatever?
That was the Invitational ran in conjunction with the 2 trail events. So if you qualified for the Invitational, you could be fishing the Trail Event 1 and Trail Event 2 while you're fishing the Invitational, and then both days added up your combined score, your aggregate score for the Invitational. I think I finished 41st on Saturday out of 144, and then I was like 60 something on Sunday out of 130 something. I mean, it's just wasn't the showing I was looking for sure, but just the fact I got to see a pretty big fish chunk my spinnerbait out of her mouth. I didn't get her in the boat, but I had one she's probably 9 pounds or bigger. I had a pretty big one on. And then I saw her again. She was in the area of some beds, but I couldn't get her to eat. She was big. She was big fish, but just seeing some of that, and then the little alligators follow you around and stuff. Yeah, it's always fun. We deal with some alligators over here too.
Yeah.
Some of the marshes areas we go, we definitely deal with some of those. So we'll get into some of that. So being that we're in the marsh a lot, what is y'all's favorite species to target? Y'all, Tammy, like redfish way better than chasing trout?
Yes. As soon as you hear that drag peeling off,
Yeah.
and they're making a run, and then the fight. Oh my God, there's nothing like it. It's gets my adrenaline pumping. Get it on the yak, and I'm just like, yeah, right.
Have you got one to eat a topwater yet?
No, not really.
We need to get that. We need to make that happen.
I need to practice, like on the hunchback, which is not quite
More
a top
weight,
water. It's a little
bait.
Yeah. I mean, I've got plenty on that, but yeah, I need to practice my top water game for sure.
It's all about the rod and getting one with the right tip, so you can get the motion going and you don't fatigue your hand. Because if you got a heavier rod, you're gonna wear your hand out trying to walk that dog all day, walk that bait. So if you get a little cadence going with that, the way you're twitching that rod and just popping that reel, we'll have to make that happen. We need to do that.
Yeah, we do.
We need to do that when that little area over here fires back up again on top water. We have to do that. So redfish, you think they taste better than trout or no?
So here's a funny thing. I don't eat fish.
Oh wow!
Well, so when I was 15, I was just like, you know what? I used to love fish, but not so much anymore. However, I took some trout that we caught to my sister, and she cooked it up and seasoned it, and I had a couple of bites, and it was pretty good. So I may start eating fish again.
Especially
we give a lot of fish away because I keep a couple fillets for myself, and but yeah,
our freezer's stocked full of fish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't. The fresh fish, cooking them tonight, you bring them home. It's kind of tough to beat.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of tough. So Dave, you like redfish also, or you like to?
That's
all of them.
Damn good question, because summertime, I'm all about chasing redfish in the back lakes and marsh, and I just love it. I love being in the marsh, not just catching the fish, but in the marsh, the back rivers and such. But this time of year, just because I see guys like you and Castro and you guys catching these gator trout, literally over 25-inch trout, I'm all about it. I'm trying to figure it out. I do well, but I don't compete at that level. I mean, my personal best is 27.5, and I think that was a fluke. Caught some 24s, some 23s, but I think I'm the king of the 18 to 20 inch trout. But I tend to, like, I know you throw a lot of topwater. I tend to stick with my confidence bait, which is a 1/8 ounce jig head with an AM. I like for the last couple of months, I've been using the AM Purple Haze. Regardless of the watercolor, I've been throwing that Purple Haze, and it's just working. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was only bass that like garlic, but apparently redfish, they all like it.
Trout, they all like it. They all like that little bit of scent. Yep. Yeah, they got a good action, and that bigger profile one they have too. That larger model they have is definitely a plus. I'm all about throwing bigger baits this time of year to get those bigger trout to get them to eat, because sometimes they don't want to waste their energy when their metabolism slowed down. They don't want to waste their energy on chasing a bunch of small baits. They'd rather just eat, a mullet that's a half to 2/3 their size. Sometimes, I mean, they'll eat a 12-inch mullet all day, a 20-inch trout reel. You'd be surprised at some of the stuff that you can tell what's in their belly, or if you keep, a couple 20, 21-inch fish, you'll be surprised what's in their stomach. It's crazy sometimes what the fish try to eat. Or if you find one swimming in the surface, or you catch one on the top water and it's got like an 8-inch mullet's tail sticking down his throat and it's trying to eat something else on top of it. You're like, oh my God.
I've caught a trout like that had a fish still in its throat.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of that. This time of year, they're, especially before the fronts come in, the prefrontal, when they're eating, trying to get ready, they're building up that layer of fat. You know how big they get, sometimes this time of year to build up that layer to help protect them and the water temps drop and everything. And, it's just, I don't know. That's what I like to do this time of year. That's why it's tough for me to go find redfish this time of year, because I'm always out chasing the trout.
I'm definitely, especially now with the tournament that you're running, the paddle and fin tournament. I jumped in that, and to have that target of 10 trout, and I know I'm going to have to be all probably 21, 22 or bigger to stand a chance. So I'm definitely going to be on a grind starting this weekend. I mean, yesterday I went out probably an hour and a half, 2 hours after work before it got dark, and that's where I posted up those 3 fish because somebody else threw some fish. I figure I might as well start throwing them on there and just cull them out, see what I can do.
Yeah, and get that. There's that blackjack prize pack too for that first 21-inch trout on the first 21 on the money. Somebody puts up that is. I'm probably going to have 2 prize packs go out. I'll probably do the first 2.
So it's 21 on the money, not
21 on the money.
All
so
right.
if it measures 21 inches, it's got to be between 20 and 20 and a quarter. It can't be close to 20 and a quarter. It can't be below the 20-inch line. So just right there, 21 inches. If that's what the measurement is, that's what.
Nice.
Get a prize pack. Get a nice little prize pack, a little something from Grande and some other stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, having these tournaments and they're not huge buy-ins, just keeps it. Not that fishing's ever not interesting, but it keeps it interesting, right? So,
I
gotta get out there. Like you said, if I could have just got out there and got a couple flounder, you probably would have won that tournament.
It's all good because we got a little payout anyways, and it was good times. We got to, somebody that I wouldn't have met. I met, even though we fished apart, we still kind of, had some. We messaged back and forth and hyping each other up and everything. So, that was pretty.
Ruben, right?
Ruben LaPasta.
Yeah, he's down in. I think he's
down in
Padre,
Port Isabel, South Padre area. Fishes down there a lot. Yeah, man. So I'm all about having fun like that. That's all good time. So, this segment I like to do something called Pick 3. Pick 3. Everybody has their own little deal, like Milk Crate Confessionals or whatever, and this guy. But I got what's called Pick 3. So, Tammi, we'll start with you. You got 3 setups to bring on the kayak with you in the morning: casting, spinning, braid, fluoro, whatever. And lure, 3 setups. So you got 3, and what's the lures on them going to be? 3 setups, 3 lures.
All right. So I've got my loose smash, 20-pound braid on it. I haven't yet tried the bait casters. I'm still on spinner reels. So on that one, I've got the 1/8-ounce jig head with a purple haze most of the time on it. It's been working really well for us. The second one's going to be my new to me, Lew's Blair Wiggins. And that one currently, no, I think it took the corky off. They usually either has a corky on it or a voodoo shrimp, just depending on what I'm targeting that day. And then my other smash, that's going to have pop and cork.
Yeah.
With about an 18 to 20-inch monoliter on it. And that's going to have an 1/8-ounce jig head. And right now it has purple haze on it. And I may change it up.
Yeah.
But those are my 3 go-tos.
Tail or shrimp imitation, yeah. And those Blair Wiggins, those saltwater spinner reels, that 2500 series. That's what I actually fish with for my spinner reels. And it's unfortunate that Lew's has discontinued those because those are some great reels that have held up really, really well. I've had one since it first came out, and I've had no problems with it. None.
I got this in a trade with Ty and Teresa Sutherland. So it was one Teresa used to use.
Yeah, it's a great reel. It's a great little reel. They are.
Yes.
They sure are. All right, Dave, what about you? Pick 3 for you.
Yeah, definitely. We've said it again and again, but definitely the AM lure, AM plastics. I'll throw some other plastics too with the 1/8 ounce. And I was going to ask you, do you switch it up for the big trout and go 1/4-inch jig head, depending upon the water you're in, obviously?
Yeah, sometimes this time of year, I'll go a little lighter. I'll go to 16th, and I'll go to a 2-aught hook. I'll go to a smaller hook.
Yeah, I do 16th.
For some, I'll fish that in the grass too, but I'll use a 3-aught or 4-aught. But I use a little smaller hook in the winter. For some reason, they seem to hold on to it, and it seems like it gets them right in the top of the mouth really good. Because sometimes, like when they do eat, when you find the right fish around the right bait, the right area, when they do eat, they freaking just smoke it. when you find those big ones.
I'm curious because sometimes if I'm in deeper water, you're just waiting that much longer for post casts.
Yeah, I use 3/16 or quarter ounce sometimes on those deeper areas in the back bayous and the channel swings and any of the river, like some of the rivers around here I'll fish and creeks. I'll use it. I'll definitely go deeper for sure.
But my other ones,
heavier one.
Right now I have 2 rods with corkies on them. Still learning the corky game. I've caught trout on the corkies. I mean, God, I've caught 7-inch trout on a big old corky's bigger than he is.
Oh yeah,
just wild. But the different techniques, that slow, let it sink, twitch, pause. Twitch, pause. Fishing with you a few times, watching you throw them. I'm always watching, learning.
Oh yeah,
you never stop learning. But top water, I do carry the pop a cork around, but I rarely ever throw it anymore. I think there's only like one spot in the bay that will go that the cork is, just park and pull it, cork it, and you're just picking up table fare. For trout.
Well, I've gotten some 21-inch on pop and cork.
Oh yeah,
she's the trolling queen, man. She'll troll that pop and cork behind her. 21, 22-inch trout is crazy.
Crazy.
I tried it. Doesn't work for me. But and it's funny. We talked about it earlier before the show. It was just recently, I think it was in Tackletown here in Rockport. And I started looking at the baitcaster rods. I only use baitcasters. I love them. Looking at the different baitcaster rods and knowing that, Waterloo is one of your sponsors. I picked up a Waterloo. Of course, I picked up the damn expensive Waterloo they had. And I was like, wow, it feels like the weight of a credit card. This is amazing. But I'm not going to pay that price. So I went down the line a little bit and I went with the Waterloo Salinity. And Dustin, as long as I've been fishing, I did not realize, people are probably going to call me an idiot, but did not realize the rods were that light. It was amazing. So all my Lew's rods are, sorry Lew's, but a lot of my Lew's rods are going to the left and the Waterloos are coming in. I just bought another one the other day.
Yeah, definitely. I'm fortunate to have support through Lew's also.
No, they're good. I mean, they're
reels go, but I've been with Waterloo since day one. Jimmy's a close friend of mine, and they do some great work in the shop here. It's a local company. I can't steer away from that with the support they've given me over the years too. So, I'm stoked to hear that when I have guests on here talk about them getting Waterloo's also, because Waterloo's been a big supporter of me. They're a supporter of the podcast and everything, and I thank Jimmy for everything he's done for me too. But yeah, it's night and day compared to some of the other rods out there. That the sensitivity, the lightness, I
don't think and there was no offense to Lew's. I mean,
yeah,
I love the Lew's reels, right? I still got all the Lew's reels. I think I just had the heavier rods from Lew's, right? Like the Orange Crush. And that rod's great for a pop cork because I can launch pop cork thing 100 miles. But yeah, it's just for finesse fishing, that lighter rod, and I'm sure Lew's makes higher end rods than what I have. But yeah, it's definitely a game changer. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of the Lew's setups like combos and stuff you'll find are mainly freshwater actions. So you'll see a little stiffer and a little heavier action rod and some other combos that are out like that. But they make some rods that do cross over well in the saltwater also. But I'm partial to my Waterloos.
Yeah,
we gonna get you a couple of them Ultra Mags here. We need to let you try them out. Good stuff. So yeah, pick 3. There it is for y'all. Dave and Tammy's lure selection. So yeah, I'm gonna throw mine out there real quick. Yeah, this time of year, it all depends on the weather, water temp, what's coming together. But like I talked about earlier, those bigger trout with their slow metabolism, they're gonna want a bigger profile bait, which in turn, that Corky Fat Boy works wonders. It's a larger profile, sinks slow, easy. It's like an easy target, easy prey for them, like a just leisurely cruising mullet. which they do seem to target more this time of year. The bigger bait fish and mullet ribbon fish. So yeah, I'm gonna have a Corky Fat Boy tied on a Waterloo Ultra Mag on a custom Lose Light, 20-pound Power Pro V2 Slick with some 20-pound fluoro. Then I'll have another same deal, Ultra Mag or a HP Slam Mag with a custom Lose Light, and then I'll have a bigger swim bait tied on like the Grande Kickback Shad. It's a 425. It's a little bigger profile. And then also I'll have some kind of crossing over from the bass side. I'll have a bigger glide bait, probably 7 or 8 inch glide bait, like giant or a giant, 7 or 8 inch swim bait that from MC Swimmers or stuff that crosses over from the bass side. Something in a natural color like a baby bass or something like that, Houdini color or something that'll cross over well into the saltwater side. So yeah, that time of year when I'm looking for big trout, that's what I'm gonna have. And then we have those little bit of warming trends here and there in the daytime. I'll have a top water, a couple top waters available to tie on, especially when we get those daytime warm ups, and the fish will move up in the shallows to eat. Sometimes when that happens in this time of year, it's always cool to be able to slow twitch a top water and get them to crush it this time of year, because normally when you do find a fish, it's going to be a good one when they do that. And like there's days I'll go out and target trout, and I'm just looking for that one bite. I mean, I might not catch a fish all day. Some days I'm just looking for that one big bite for them big girls. Want to come out and play. And some days you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, and some days you just happen to have it and you catch freaking 10 fish between 24 and 28 before you know it. Yeah. Just hit them on the head,
Matt Murphy asked me that question on his little Tackle Talk live show, and he's like, would you rather go out with your confidence bait, your purple haze, and catch a bunch of fish that are 16 to 19 inches, or would you rather go out with a Corky or a swim bait, big bait, and you may go hours but catch that one 27-inch trout? I'm like, yeah,
that's the one.
I say yes, but then I'll get out there and I'll throw that damn, I'll throw that paddle tail all day long. I'll throw the Corky occasionally, but I've got to get to the point where I just need to commit. But yeah, and you mentioned slow, and I was just going to say I learned a lot from guys like you and several others and for those watching the show, when they say, when you think you're going slow it down, they're right. I mean, I've gone, half a day not catching a damn fish, but then when I learned, let it sink a little longer, let it, just twitch, pause, twitch, pause, just super slow, man, that makes a difference. And I was trying to show somebody that the weekend before last, and they just couldn't get on a fish. And they were doing, I'd tell them to slow it down even more. And, they just couldn't get them on a fish where I was catching, tons of them. But anyway.
Yeah, sometimes they just want it where you just let it sink and you just lift your rod tip up and reel down to the slack, and you just don't even twitch it. They want it like that. And then sometimes they'll want it, I'll do a fast, like 3 or 4 twitch, and just let it sit for about 2 seconds, and twitch, let it sit for about 2 seconds. And then there's some days, depending on the water column, the level, the water you're fishing around structure and stuff, I'll just work it like a top water the whole time. I won't even stop it. It'll just be about this far under the surface, and it'll just be doing a walk the dog under the surface.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make them dance like that, and you actually see the fish come up and boil on it. And that's cool when you start doing that. Like as it warms up towards the spring starts coming around and stuff, they'll start crushing the Corkies. And then they also make the floating Fat Boy that has a red gill stripe on it. And those will do the same thing. You can kind of bend the nose and tail down on it and kind of tune it a little bit. And you can make it dig in the water a little more, but it'll stay about 2 or 3 inches under the water, kind of like a wake bait going back and forth. It looks like, but man, they'll crush those things really good too. So yeah, sometimes they want it super slow, sometimes they want it fast. It all depends on the feeding period, the way the tide's moving, the water moving. there's a lot of factors that come together, and it's cool to be able to figure it out. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it don't.
Yes, sir.
It'll get you sometimes. It'll get you. It'll get in your head. So, that's why I say I still learn something on the water all the time. So always learning and always progressing. That's all part about becoming a better angler. TOW, time on the water. It pays off in droves. It sure does. It does. Just like you said, I appreciate y'all, to hear people that say they learn stuff from me, and I'm appreciative of all of that too, because I like to share with people. I like to help people learn too, but like I said, you got to work for it. I'm not all for spoon feed. I don't want to spoon feed people and just you still got to work for it. That's why I'm kind of pro, figure it out, get on the maps and figure out all your stuff. There's that Patreon stuff with the YouTube and all this and that. And then, people blowing up spots to get followers and all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of not down with that. I'd rather go figure it out on my own. Now, if I could watch a video and figure it out from the landmarks and stuff, hey, more power to you, because I will do that too.
Now the challenge for me, I think challenge for a lot of people now is now we need to find even more spots, right?
Yep, and further back. Yep.
Constantly, I'm on in the middle of the day at work, I'm on Google Maps, and I'm like, oh, look, city so-and-so, and look at that back bay, and oh, look at all that marshy area.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is there a place I can launch to get in there?
Yeah.
No. And you haven't spoon fed. But you took a couple of us out last year and a year and a half ago. And, anybody that I go out with, I'm watching what they're doing, especially if they're fish. There was a day that you and I went up a river. Let's just say a river.
Yeah.
A narrow creek river. And you were throwing that dang topwater like a dart. And I think I left one up in a tree. Could have had to hit that shoreline. You had to hit like right at the grass, right?
That's from that bass fishing over the years and just.
Yeah, just like I thought I was pretty accurate. Damn, you were hitting like right at the bottom of the grass every time. But yeah, just watching the techniques of whether it's you or some of the other guys I fish with, even videos,
Oh yeah. You pick up on that stuff, and then, like I said, just time on the water, man. That's just it'll pay off big time. It just comes. You just start learning different things, and it's just there's so much info out there online, though. It is helpful, but just that time on the water can't be beat. For sure.
Right. There's a lot of techniques to learn, right? But I think even after, if two people they understand the techniques, but this guy knows where to go, There's also that element of you got to be where the fish are.
For sure.
You're not just going to blind cast into a hole, but and we learned that. We've got some pretty good spots now, and actually shout out to you again when we fished that Fin Addicts tournament. There were about 100 anglers. And,
oh yeah, that's right. That was the first.
That was our first win.
Yeah,
actually, it was the first. She won the ladies division. I took the opening.
Husband and wife took the whole shebang. That was awesome, man. That's right.
Cool. It's pretty cool. Thank goodness that you were off at a bass tournament.
It's all good, man. Hey, any other events planned coming up for the couple?
Right now, I'm in yours. I actually thought about trying. I kind of put a feeler out there
for a bass tournament.
Or a bass tournament, and then I would judge it. I probably wouldn't fish the bass tournament because I'm not really around a lot of fresh water. I don't know. Then I thought of just an idea. I thought about taking a group of combination of guides and the more experienced anglers. So like you, Matt, Chris, Denny, Phil Spencer, have like 5 or 6 captains, right? And do the same thing. Draw out of a hat for the teams.
Pick a team, like a 3-person team.
Pretty cool. So it'd be like 3 or 4 or 5 people on a team. Of course, then the payout's a little bit different, right? You'd probably win. You'd win like 6-1 or 5-1 or.
Yeah, that's all good.
I don't know. Just trying to something.
Try it up. Yep.
Something different. I like mixing it up, and we've had couples tournaments, we've had a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's cool. I'll be looking forward to some more of those. But like we were talking earlier, try to get out and further reach the spots. I'm kind of backtracking a little bit here, but what's helped big time is it's those motors. Yeah, that helps you get a little further, a little faster. You sneak back a little further to some of them bays you might not have thought about. You could get back in. Now you got a little more range and get back in there. I know there's some people out there that harp on the motors in tournaments, but hey, to each their own. If it's allowed, I'm going to use it, especially for pre-fishing and stuff, for scouting. Even if it's not allowed, I'm going to be pre-fishing and finding my spots that I can still get to without it. But, it just helps break down water that much faster. It's a big advantage in my eyes.
I just picked one up for Tammy because I was getting tired of towing her with my motor. Yeah. So,
oh yeah,
pretty nice.
Yeah, as a via the page, the group, anything I wanted to ask y'all. There's been some good, cool stuff going on in the community. What have y'all witnessed from the kayak community that makes you proud to be part of it? What went on? I know the Hammer group had a little tournament where they donated a fish, and who was that? There's somebody in Corpus that cooks up food for the homeless. And
it's Luis Hernandez.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet Lou.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to catch him on YouTube, it's
Sweet Lou's Black Dot Tail Adventures.
That's what he says.
Black Tail Adventures.
He's a good guy. We've donated a lot because she doesn't eat fish. We've donated quite a bit of fish to him, and that tournament, that Hammer tournament, was, I don't know how many people were in it. Probably a good 50 or so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And Tammy volunteered me to help clean the fish. After a day of tournament, and I never cleaned so many trout in my life, man. But yeah, that was a good little tournament. It was
a good deal right there. And then the Fin Addict Association does some good benefits and stuff. They got a tournament coming up at the South Texas Winter Classic coming up, 27th.
Is it?
Is that Fin Addict?
They're part of that one.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
I think so. And then Kayak Fishing Texas has their Fayette event that same day.
I know. We'll talk about it later.
I'm probably fishing that one.
What, Fayette?
Yeah. I think
you like those green fish.
I like to chase them too, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
They're stinky.
We'll have to see. They are kind of stinky sometimes. Kind of like the gar when you're red fishing. Sometimes those gar are pretty stinky too. Yeah. But yeah, that that the deals, just like they give back to the community and everything. That's pretty cool that we have, some stuff as a kayak community we can get involved behind and help support also. So yeah, good stuff. I like what y'all done with the group and the events and everything. And it's cool. I want to try to get my wife out there a little more. She's been out a few times, got some bass here and there, but I want to get her on saltwater, So we're gonna have to work on that too. I have to get her to listen to this one. So any other shout outs or anything y'all want to give? Y'all got the stage right now to do so.
No, we just appreciate the entire kayaking community. I mean, it's incredible. Always had long-term close friends, but I've met more friends and good people in the kayaking world than anywhere else in my life.
Yeah, some of our closest friends now we met them through kayak fishing.
Yep.
It's amazing.
A great part of it is the camaraderie. It's just there. That says it all. Just meeting everybody and becoming closer and everything, and enjoying time on the water together, just like y'all did. Started out as fishing couple, and it got a little group going now. So yeah, y'all check that out. Check the page out, Couples Yak Fishing Texas on Facebook group, and join up. And you don't have to live in Texas to join it.
And you don't have to be a couple if your wife doesn't fish.
Yeah, join it.
Might be an opportunity if your wife sees it. It might be an opportunity to get her fishing. Because pretty nice. There's never a kitchen pass needed, and we'll launch and we're going two different directions half the time, right? So it's not like you're on top of each other the whole time. It's
Yep. Awesome. Well, man, Dave, Tammy, I thank y'all for coming on tonight. And appreciate y'all being on the show. Once again, I want to thank everybody. Thank all the listeners out there for tuning in. Thanks to Waterloo Rod Company and Truchador & Co. Apparel and hats and everything. They make some good looking stuff for supporting the show. And, once again, Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm Dustin Nichols with Chasing the Tide, signing out. Catch y'all next time.
See you.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. Shout out to Jig Masters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com.